All right, looks like the timer ran out, so I should get started. Let me turn down the music a smidge on my side. All right, so I got Game Chops Radio going in the background, which lovely video game themed. I got the video game study lounge going, which always pleasant to listen to, and they have a streamer-friendly policy, which means my VOD won't have random mutes in it this week, which is cool in case I want to do something with that VOD. I just realized I haven't switched anything, so one of these is right. Here we go. Alright, we're still learning how all this works. So, I thought I'd start tonight with a little bit of pixel art because I enjoy it and it's a good time. So, every day lately I've been posting some of my pixel art on my Twitter. You can find that in my profile below if you don't follow me already. And I've been posting not only cards from my hopefully soon to be upcoming card game, which I can speak about at some point in the future, but it's called Vire. It's very cool. I'm also doing something called Pixel Dailies. There's an account on Twitter, I guess. I don't know where else would it be. There's an account on Twitter called Pixel Dailies. It gives out a daily theme, and then every day, if you tweet back to the account with some pixel art that you did, it kind of puts it all, like, people can browse it because it's all, the same theme. It's all got the same hashtags. But it also, they retweet some of them out, which is a fun way to try and kind of get your name out there. Today's theme was Crow, which is kind of a weird theme. But since I've been mostly streaming Magic, I thought we could do a bit of an homage to the, greatest crow in all of Magic, the Storm Crow. So, yes, exactly, Storm Crow. So we're gonna try and make a pixel art crow. My self-imposed limitation, so I don't go too crazy, is that I have a 48 by 48 pixel canvas here. These are just some default colors. This is literally according to Sprite, the Google UI color scheme. We're not limited to this, but it's a good place to start. And on my other monitor here, I have pulled up some random pictures of crows, because as much as I know what a crow looks like, it is nice to have references. So we're going to see what we can come up with. I think that a storm crow definitely needs to be flying through a storm. So we got our handy drawing pad here, make my life a little bit easier. So let's see what we can start here. So general bird flying shape is, you kind of get like a fish. It's honestly very fish-like to start. At least that's how I see it. Conveniently, crows are black. So we'll get to play around with those colors a little bit later. Let's see here. And there's kind of this little upturn in the tail on the reference one that I'm looking at. So we're going to have to find a way to really get that beak to stand out, because like a crow is like black on black. There is a lot of arts for Stormcrow. I'm actually looking at just a crow. I thought I would start with just a crow, and then add the storm. Like, this is my original 48 pixel square take on a Stormcrow. That's what we're going with. I'm going to use another color. This color obviously won't make it into the final, but I want to kind of like see the shape of the wing. So like the back wing, this is the wing that's farther away from us. It's kind of in this-ish area. And one of the neat things that I'm seeing when I'm looking at these reference photos is that like a Stormcrow's, or like a bird's wing, is like the feathers are really separated back there. Like you can definitely tell the individual feathers. So try and emulate that a little bit. There's even, if you're looking for it, there's even a Stormcrow token made in Unfinity from the card Attempted Murder. A funny card, but definitely kind of entertaining. So I think this is actually like a little too big for the back wing, so we're gonna, I don't know. We can fiddle around with this a lot, but we're gonna just start with that. And then the foreground wing is gonna be like a lot bigger, because this wing is mostly hidden behind the bird, to be honest. An unstable one as well. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'll have to look that up later. Alright, so this wing is kind of here-ish. We want kind of a through line. We don't want this wing back here to be like too much bigger than this wing, because that would not make much sense. And then kind of like just the edges really have the individual. Alright, so that's like a good starting point. Okay, that Stormcrow is very metal. Maybe we'll take some lightning bolt inspirations from that Stormcrow. Trying to like visualize how this. I've never tried to like pixel art a bird. Not in this way. Like obviously you can do the like, you know, seagull. But that's we're looking for a little bit more detail this time. Maybe we might default back to a little bit less. You never know. But all right, we've got a wing. We've got the back wing. I think I need to maybe give this. I mean, I think I overthought the individual feather bit a little bit. Give that a little bit more. There we go. Something like this. And so one thing that I'm noticing looking at the crow is that a lot of the details that you can make out in its black on black are from like reflections. Crow is going to be really hard, I'm realizing, as I'm looking at this. Because this looks nothing like a crow yet, and that's okay. This tail needs to be moved up. Okay, that helps a little bit. Let's figure out how this head is supposed to look. I think if I can get the head recognizable, the rest of it will be fine. All right, so this is not a lot of pixels to work with. See if we can figure out what shape the beak is supposed to be. That's not terrible. We're getting there. All right, so what we're gonna do is, first of all, I'm going to make a background color to this because part of what's going to make this difficult is that I'm working on grayscale, and grayscale on top of the, like, this thing is clear grid is just not conducive. So we're going to give it like a purple background. We're going to assume we're going to add some stormy weather to this. We're going to center our bird a little bit. And then I really want the beak to be kind of silvery. So we're going to kind of lighten up the beak even more. Something along this lines. It's kind of a little bit darker on the bottom there. And then we need to kind of define where it's going to be darkest. So this color is our darkest color. So we actually want to like make this less dark so that we can make other areas darker. And so we want that like across the top of the wing so you can kind of see the definition of the wing. And then we're going to want this like along the front of the wing, I think. And then it will help us kind of define some of this feathery pattern. Something along those lines, and then we can come back through here. Not with that color though. Something a little bit lighter. yeah, this is starting to look okay. Part of the trick here is like getting colors that are similar without being right next to each other. It's like that stupid math problems you do in middle school where you have to find all the ways to fill in a map. It's like it's surprisingly similar to that, because what you end up doing is you end up trying to like maximize your use of color, and to maximize the use of color, you need to like have definition, right? So like we're doing this whole thing with a gradient, and that works really well, but you need to like this line here is needed, otherwise these two colors are the same. All right, so like see here, I need to define the, like this is defining where the wing attaches to the body, and I want this color to go along this area, but I need to like add in a little bit here like this, so that when I go across, you can actually tell that there's a wing there. And like taking a look at this, there's almost like 2 layers of feathers in the wing. So we're going to kind of do that here. And I almost think that we're going to end up using this like not quite as dark color to define the feathers down here. And then this darker color to define the feathers up here. So we're going to take some of this. And now I'm seeing that the background color I picked is not the most conducive. There we go. That makes it a lot easier to see. Ooh, wrong layer. One thing that I would love to have an option for in Sprite is for a different cursor when you have the paint bucket versus the paintbrush. And that might sound silly, but the amount of times I have switched back and forth and then accidentally paint bucket something is rather annoying. That's okay, but all right, so we're making good progress here. We kind of want to define some more feathers here, because it has pretty well defined tail feathers as well. And then kind of streak this back here. Maybe make that a little bit there. That's honestly not too bad. It gets a lot of the shape correct. I think if it was, you know, smaller, you zoom out a little bit. If you zoom in on pixel art, it always looks weird. But if you zoom out a little bit, I think it kind of gets the crow point across. And kind of have this continuation of the wing here. Kind of the defined feathers. I think we can kind of use a little bit of what we learned down here, up here. as always, there's going to be room for improvement. But I think that looks pretty good, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's just meant to be like a quick daily exercise, right? So now we have a crow, and I really want like it to be dark and stormy behind it, which means we're probably going to be using this dark color. The problem with that is we're not going to be able to see the crow very well. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to, first of all, we're going to add in like a cool lightning bolt. So we're going to take this yellow. You know, we're probably going to do this on a new, whoops, did not want a group, I want a new layer. So we're gonna, see, there's that paint bucket again. Give it a cool lightning bolt shape. We don't have to see the whole shape because it's partly hidden behind the crow. But we can just assume that whoever's looking at the art is smart enough to figure that out. And then what I really like, there's a really silly tool that I'm not even sure it's necessarily good form to use, but I don't care. It makes the art look cool. We're going to duplicate this layer. So we have 2 lightning bolts now. We can hide that if we want. There is a blur tool over here. And now this blur tool is slightly bigger than the lightning bolt. And we're on the bottom of the 2 lightning bolts. What this does is it lets us blur the lightning bolt with it's actually blurring it with the lack of pigment, I guess. It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's blurring it with clear because there's no colors next to it on its layer. And this gives it that kind of lighting effect that the lightning bolt's going through, while maintaining the strong color of the actual lightning bolt. So that's why we do it in 2 layers like that. And then what we can also do, because we did the background on its own layer, is we can kind of give it some storm color. So I think a storm, like blues and purples, right? So I'm going to take this dark blue. We're just going to mix it into the purple. And you're going to be like, that looks terrible. And you know what? You're probably right. But that's okay. Because once again, we have this handy blur tool. We're going to make it bigger. And we're just going to go across. And be like, this still doesn't look great. That's fine. So then we're going to take this jumble tool. And this jumble tool, I don't know what it's supposed to be used for, but I love using it for this. So this like shuffles the stuff within the circle. And what's cool about this is that the blur tool made a bunch of different colors of pixels, but they're all next to each other in a uniform way that makes them look like they blend into each other, which actually makes them look like there's less pixels. And then this scramble tool then shuffles them up so they're not neatly organized anymore. So you get this really cool like pixelated background thing going on without it looking like where you can kind of see the distinct pixels again because they're not ordered in a normal way. Not sure where my cowboy hat came from. So we'll go back to there. All right, so now that we've done that, we can put the crow back in. And the last thing I want to do is I want the crow to really stand out. And so to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to actually duplicate the crow layer. Duplicate, not delete. All right, and then we're going to get rid of this top crow. And we're going to pick probably this really light color. And I'm going to go through and make a copy of the crow underneath it using this really light color. And then we're going to use that same blur tool to create basically like an aura around the crow. And if it stands out too much, we can then reduce the opacity. Now, is this traditional pixel art? Could your Nintendo do this? Probably not. But I didn't have a Nintendo. I had an N64, and it could probably do this. So, who cares? Whoops. Sorry about that. Alright, so now that we have this, we get out that blur tool. And I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to do just like one big circle. Right? Boom. Look at that. I'm going to put this on top of it. And now the crow stands out from the background. But not in a way that, like, really makes it, like, it's not highlighted in the same way. And then I can also, like, reduce the opacity. So, like, this, you still get that highlight. It still helps it stand out without making it like a bright outline on the outside. And I'm actually pretty happy with how this turned out. So I think we're going to call this done for my little pixel art subsection here. And we're going to take this. I'm going to export it. I'm going to throw it on Twitter quick. Let's see here. So, yeah, you can check these out. I do them most days. And you can check them out on my Twitter. If I can remember how to Twitter, because I don't do this very often. All right. I just gotta put the actual file on there. That would be smart. All right. So, sent that along. Still got music. Let's switch categories. And once again, my guy is angry. I must be hitting number keys and not realizing it. That's most likely what's going on. All right. Alright, so we're going to learn some Magic the Gathering Online tonight and play some Vintage Cube. We'll call it some chill Vintage Cube because that's how I'm approaching it anyways. Alright, category swapped over. Just make sure that I did it correctly. Looks good over there. Awesome. So, I got my Magic the Gathering Online client pulled up here. I don't know how well this will stream because it is kind of a pain in the butt to set up. However, we're going to do our best, and if I need to make adjustments on the fly, I'll make adjustments on the fly. So, I got some tickets earlier. I got a little bit of play points. So long as we win a couple games, we'll be able to keep rolling, which is fun. So let's give it a shot. Okay, that did not switch windows. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit this. We're going to change this to entire monitor 1. Alright, bear with me for a second here. Hey, okay. So now I'm just sharing my monitor, which is not ideal, but it works out. We can see if I can. There we go. Maybe? I wanted it to hide itself. I guess you'll just see my taskbar. That's fine. That's not the big deal. Yeah. Alright, cool. Let's give this a shot. Now, admittedly, I've played a grand total of like 2 or 3 drafts ever on Magic Online, so my Magic the Gathering online skills might be a little bit lacking, but that's what the learning part is. I have done some Vintage Cube drafts in the past and have played Magic forever, so we're just going to have some fun with it. And accept that misclicks happen. There are 3,000 players actively in the Vintage Cube. So players with matches or matches remaining. Interesting. It's a lot of players. It's kind of cool to see that Vintage Cube has continued to... Well, not just Vintage Cube, but Magic the Gathering Online continues to be a thing, even though Magic Arena is around. What game is this from? Oh, this is like Donkey Kong music. Nice. I knew I recognized it from somewhere. All right, we've made it. Let's see what we got. Ancient Tomb's always good. No Power 9. Blightsteel is fun, but not something you take first. Kitesail Larcenist is pretty cool, but I think the clear winner here is going to be this Ancient Tomb. So let's grab that. That's the sideboard. That is how many packs everybody has. Or how many picks they've made? I'm not 100% sure what that is. Looks like picks made. Yeah, alright. Very cool. Let's see what we get. Alright, pick 2. Looking for some powerful nonsense here. Parallax Wave is pretty strong. Gut is pretty crazy if we get going with it. I don't see any of the like super strong build around nonsense to start with. So let's go Gut. This allows me to sack creatures or artifacts, so this leaves us open to going for like tokens or artifacts, but we want to be aggressive, and I'm an aggressive person, so we're gonna try it. Alright. Wonder if there's a way to see when you have a pack pending, so that I can like talk about the pack until that pack comes up. Alright, let's see what we got. Oliphant is pretty fun if we want to go into Reanimator. Also helps with Mountain. Third Path helps with non-creature spells. We make lots of artifacts with that, which goes well with the Gut. Doesn't really go well with the Ancient Tomb, but that's probably fine. That's a looter. The Dracosaur is fun, but not overly powerful. I think it's between these two. The Third Path locks us into blue. Let's go for the Third Path. There's plenty of time to find fixing, and this gives us like a direction. We want to go blue, red, artifacts, and spells. That's kind of very super general, but it's a good place to start. Metamorph kind of fits along with what we're doing. Smuggler's Copter. This one's quite good. Show and Tell is a lot of silliness. The nice thing about the Metamorph is it can be reactive to what our opponents do, but the Smuggler's Copter goes quite well with our Third Path. I think I'm going to take the Metamorph here. Just because it has such flexibility, and it can insulate us against certain draws from our opponents as well. And it goes along with the artifact theme. Alright, what do we got going here? So, Mishra's research desk is on theme with what we're doing so far. Torch of Defiance is pretty darn fun. I don't have any spells yet for Spellseeker, but we can dream. Let's go with the research desk. Kind of stick with our artifact-y token nonsense we've got going on so far. I mean, we're 5 picks in. We can start over here and we'd still be fine, but gotta start somewhere. All right. I don't think that this Jace is very good. Fire Blast, Consider. I don't mind Consider. This Generous Plunderer is interesting and kind of goes along with what we're doing in that it will make artifact tokens that I can sack to gut, and it has Menace, so it attacks well. The Cantrip or this kind of neat 2-drop. Now this does give my opponents treasures, which can be very dangerous. I think I want the Consider, and then we'll just dream about something else coming back around. Yeah, we'll do that. Alright, this pack, we've got Saheeli, which, you know, it's basically another Third Path Iconoclast. Otherwise, this Chromatic Star is also on plan. Draws a card, cantrips, is actually really good with Gut because you get the card draw off of the Gut trigger. Oh man, Saheeli, you know what? I think we want this star. We're still hoping for like a big payoff, but we're not super sad about where we're starting here. So Soulscar Mage is aggressive. I don't mind being aggressive. Nothing else is like super on plan, so let's take that. Alright, so this is the first pack back. This is a cool creature that draws a card. This shoots things. This is a talisman. We have like no removal yet. Let's take the Kavu. Alright, speaking of no removal, we now have at least a little bit with the Pyrite Spellbomb. There was a Triome in there that was on colors. It would have been nice to have, but I think we're okay with this. We got Malcolm. Malcolm is going to loot and eventually give us free stuff. We like free stuff eventually. I'm not upset where this is going so far. Figure of Destiny is not amazing in our deck so far, but if we end up in just like aggressive red, we don't mind it. And it's a mana sink if we get some good mana stuff. Let's take the Copperline Gorge for the sideboard. Alright, Fire Blast or Shield Breaker. Let's take the Shield Breaker. And that's a Pride Mage. Alright, pack 2. Show me a Mox Ruby. I mean, that's wishing for a lot, but hey, you know, I gotta dream big. Tolarian Academy or Wheel of Fortune. Ooh. Well, we're already stacking up the cheap artifacts. And we have an artifact maker. You know what? I want this to be good. Wheel of Fortune is always fun, but is also dangerous because if our opponent like slams a Bowmasters or something like that, I mean, you can't live in fear. But I think I want to believe. I want to believe that we're gonna get there with this Tolarian Academy. All right, what do we got here? Soul Cauldron is fun. Duelist, Mox Diamond, Basalt Monolith. This could get us even more mana. And if we find there's a couple infinite mana payoffs in our colors. It's not super aggressive. We have a lot of aggressive things, but that might be fine. Yeah, let's take the Basalt Monolith. Alright. I can make the cards bigger. Maybe I want this one to be bigger. Make it a little easier for people to see. And we can do this as well. There we go. Moving in the right direction. Alright, so we got an Aether Spellbomb here. I think that's the main thing I want out of here. I wouldn't mind the Pyrokinesis or the Myr Battlesphere or the Charta Course, but we do want those little artifacts. Let's make these bigger for us. I think the default sorting is fine. Hopefully everyone's doing well this evening. Little bit of a dead zone there. Alright, so where are we looking at so far? So Figure is fine, Soul Scar is fine, everything else in the 1-drops is pretty good. We got both Spell Bombs. Malcolm is a fine 2-drop. Third Path is kind of on plan for what we're doing. And Gut takes these artifacts and turns them into 4/1s, which we kind of like. We're still lacking something like really unfair to do, something to kind of push us ahead, but you know, we got time. We got time to find it. Would love to find like a Kappa Cannoneer or what are some other good big artifact payoffs? I think I'm taking this Fairy Mastermind. And the other option is this Pentad Prism, which ramps us, but we don't have a top end yet. But it is an artifact that sticks around after you use the mana, but I think I want this Fairy Mastermind. Or 3 steps ahead. You know what? Let's take the 3 steps ahead. This gives us a little bit more interaction, but also can do some shenanigans. And we like shenanigans. Shenanigans are fun. Out of this pack, this is something to ramp into. And if we get it early, we can turn it into a treasure token. Otherwise, there's the Might Stone and Weak Stone, which is also a pretty okay payoff, or this Mishra's Bauble. I don't trust this to come back around, so let's take the Magma Opus. This Manamorphose is also interesting because we have a little bit about caring about non-creature spells, but like not enough that it's like a big deal. So let's take this Magma Opus. Hope that that's going to be our like big mana payoff that we end up with. Each player's end step. Okay, so this draws us cards with the artifacts, otherwise Shadow Spear. I'm kind of a sucker for equipment. This is well known. Magda is also like not terrible, but probably not the main thing, especially since we didn't get that Smuggler's Copter. Let's see here. One in hand, one in graveyard. I want this Shadow Spear. I'm a sucker for the Shadow Spear. Alright, so we haven't seen Thopter Foundry yet, but this is a... What, 9 cards left? So this is like a 6-pick Sword of the Meek, which means nobody else has got the Thopter Foundry either. So if we grabbed this, we're going to have to find a way to cast the Thopter Foundry, but it does mean that we have a good chance of finding it. Otherwise, there's this Mystic Forge, but we're not as colorless as I'd kind of want for that. So let's take this Sword of the Meek. We don't need another Soul Land. Oh, we do want this Zerta. So this Zerta goes infinite with the Basalt Monolith, which is awesome. We don't have an infinite mana payoff yet, but we do have some, like, lots of mana payoff in the Magma Opus. So we just, I mean, Thopter Foundry would be awesome, and then we're going to need to find some white sources, probably. This deck is getting pulled in a couple different directions, unfortunately, but we're at least generally on a plan. Coveted Jewel is very cool, but I don't know that I know how to use it very well. And this Inspiring Vantage helps with our hopeful white splash. Oh, there goes that alarm. Hey, that would be cool. I think that's an awesome idea. 2 turns. Alright, let's take the interactive spell. A musical sketch. I'm not sure I'm familiar with a musical sketch, but that would be very cool. I will check that out later. We're taking the Charter course. None of the... Well, the Enlightened Tutor's kind of interesting. No, we don't want to splash white unless we get the actual payoff, I think. Well, I would love to check it out, and I will in a little bit. I think I want the semi-aggressive creature. Hey, look, this came back to us. I can go there. I never know how to categorize these spree cards. Okay, we got the Mystic Forge back, too. No one's really going artifacts, it looks like. I don't really know how to categorize spree cards when I'm, like, setting up these curves. Hey! It's some power. Oh, and there's an Urza, too. Oh, no! Hopefully no one wants the Urza. Yeah, I'm not passing a Mox Pearl. Nobody else wants the Urza. Just saying it now. It would be cool to eventually, like, I have a stream starting soon screen right now, but there's no, like, animation on it or anything. It's just a countdown. I would love to eventually have, like, a little, I don't know, bumper, like the little stream starting with an animated what am I trying to say? Like an animated with a little jingle. Jingles like sounds terrible, but like something to start the stream with. Definitely very articulate tonight. All right, so what is my deck doing? My deck is got some low to the ground artifact shenanigans with some good mana, or like good fast mana, because we've got the Tolarian Academy, Ancient Tomb, Mox Pearl. We would love to do some artifact things, but we haven't really found the payoffs for that yet. So we're going to keep an eye out for the payoffs for that. In the meantime, I'm going to have to make decisions like this Volcanic Island, which would be very cool, or this Lelia, which continues our kind of aggressive slant. And if we can go, like, you know, turn one Mox Pearl, Ancient Tomb into, well, that doesn't make Lelia, but like generally that kind of thing. We don't mind the aggressive start, and I think we are kind of an aggressive artifact slanted deck right now. But Volcanic Island is very good. You know what? I think we're going to take the Lelia. Our curve is so low. Oh, well, there's our 3-color Triome, so that doesn't suck. This would be an infinite mana payoff, which we wouldn't mind. This also with Zerta in play only cycles for 1. I think, you know what, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to take this. There's going to be some other payoff available. It'll be fine. All right, what do we got here? Hey! What did I tell you about payoffs? That would be really cool. I'll definitely let you know. So we are clearly the artifact drafter because we're getting this pretty late pack 3 Kappa Cannon here. So we love to see that. Robber of the Rich continues our aggressive slant. Phyrexian Revoker is an artifact, though. Otherwise, True Name Nemesis is just not a fair card. And Hard Evidence is surprisingly good for us, too, because it's a body and an artifact for 1 mana. I think we really want to... This is tough. I think we want to lean into the artifact side of things, but I don't... Maybe True Name comes back? That would be kind of crazy. I'm actually going to take this Hard Evidence. Because the artifact in the body for 1 mana seems pretty good. Stern Scolding gives us some interaction early, which we like. Steel Seraph is only castable for 6. Yeah, let's take the Stern Scolding. Brazen Borrower solves all holes in all matchups, as everyone knows. Otherwise, Thought Scour... Not really a great Thought Scour deck. We're kind of an okay Monastery Mentor deck, honestly. Turn 1 Monastery Mentor off of Mox Pearl Ancient Tomb into any number of artifacts on turn 2. Yeah, let's splash for the Mentor. It'll be fine. No way! It's the Thopter Foundry! We did it! Alright, this is going to have Urza. Urza's going to have Wield, right? Was this the Urza pack? This wasn't... Yeah, this was the Urza pack. That's a bummer. Okay, so Miscalc or Portal to Phyrexia. I think we want another big payoff. That's fine. We're gonna have the kind of the payoff category here. We're going to have to make some cuts, obviously. We count this as a 3-mana spell, I think. Oh, we get the Volcanic Island back, though. Don't mind that. Alright, so we're going to need to make some cuts here. I don't think we're colorless enough for this Mystic Forge. Kind of want to get the interaction going at this point. I'm not going to play any of this, so I'm going to steal somebody's dual land. Don't think I need the Kabu anymore. So we have Thopter combo. Don't think we need this Soul Scar Mage or this Figure of Destiny. It's the Bronco. It's a Snorse. Sounds good. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Hopefully the deck's fun. We may put this up on YouTube after if people are interested. I don't have a YouTube channel yet, but, well, I kind of do. It just doesn't have anything on it, but we'll get there. All right, so we're going to take our lands, set those to the side. It's not what I wanted it to do. All right, so there we go. All right, Ancient Tomb is good. We don't need this. We don't need this Taiga. We have a surprising amount of green fixing. For the green cards we will not be playing. Okay, so we got 5 lands, 6 lands there. We're at 28. Okay, so we need to make 4 cuts at minimum. So the Shield Breaker is a great sideboard card if we're up against some artifact stuff. Our only white card is this Monastery Mentor, but like our deck really does work pretty well with it. So, and we've got some fixing, so I don't think that's a problem. I don't know that I need this Magma Opus anymore. I guess the Magma Opus is easier to facilitate than the Portal. The Portal's really strong, but it only really works if we can get Zerta plus Basalt Monolith, and we already have an infinite mana payoff with like Thopter Sword, and we have a big mana payoff with Magma Opus. Kappa Cannoneer doesn't cost that much, and then 5 mana for the Might Stone, Weak Stone, which does admittedly ramp us into the Portal. But I don't know if we need another Portal. Snap is kind of fun, especially since we have multiple lands that can double up there. 3 Steps Ahead is a counterspell or a draw to discard a card. Counterspell, Hard Evidence. Let's Stern Scolding is probably the, I mean, it's the cheapest of our counter spells, but it doesn't counter anything big, which may or may not be a problem. Phantom Interference is a soft counter. Maybe that's the one we're supposed to take out. Malcolm is a looter. We don't mind. Maybe we can take out this Charter Course. Okay, so this is, and then add basics. Why does it think we want a black mana? Oh, for the Thopter Foundry? Okay. We do not need this black mana. 6, so we need 10 total basics. I think 1 plains. We need the island more than we need the mountain, at least early. Okay, so that's 40. So that's good start. That's 40. Whoops. So that's did not mean to unmute my own stream there. That was kind of funny. Okay, that one can be closed. There we go. All right, so we got a cube deck. It looks pretty sweet. I'm going to refill my beverage quick, and then we'll play some games. So I will be right back in like 2 minutes, and then we'll get to some games. I'll even leave this up. I probably shouldn't. So I'll put up the be right back, but I will literally be right back. All right, we're back. Told you it would be quick. All right, we've got a pretty cool red-blue splashing white vintage cube deck. We've got Mox Pearl, always nice to have a bit of power. We've got Thopter Sword combo. We've got Zerta Basalt Monolith. We've got Gut and Lelia to be aggressive. We got Monastery Mentor with an Ancient Tomb Mox Pearl. We've got Kappa Cannoneer. And we got a Magma Opus because if all else fails, it's a 2-mana treasure. And that's still an artifact. So, we're going to give it a shot. No guarantees. But I think it looks pretty sweet. And let's see how we do. Quick disclaimer. I'm still pretty new to Magic the Gathering Online. And though I know Magic quite well, I might misclick. And that's okay. If I miss something, feel free to throw it in chat. I will be taking my time, so you might even help me out. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be upset either way. I'm just here to learn, have a good time. So, hopefully people are cool with some chill drafting. And I don't bite, so, say hi if you want. People are welcome to lurk as well. Got some good music going. We're listening to Game Chops, Study Hall Radio. And we get to go first, which is always nice. Okay, so right out of the gate, we've got a pretty fun hand. We are going to be looking at... Alright, so how do we want to sequence this? We could go Island Shadow Spear. I'm just trying to think this out. Because we get sort of the meek down on turn 1, but does that do much for us? What we're really trying to do is get to 5 mana so that we can play this Mightstone Weakstone. So that looks like... I think that looks like Island, Pearl, Sword of the Meek. So that next turn we have a maximum artifacts. We're up against Euthyphro? Euthyphro. Let's see what we draw. Snap. Snap is fun. So we are going to play Tolarian Academy. We unfortunately don't quite hit 5, right? So it's 1, so 2, 3, 4, or play this and also be at 4. So we are going to play the Shadow Spear and be okay with that for the turn. Hey, Sharp. It's all right. It's a little bit more cumbersome than good old Arena. So I reveal my hand, and each opponent exiles a creature card revealed this way. So I don't have any creature cards. So I'm not... They get to see everything, but I'm not super worried about it. Yeah, definitely not as pretty. So that's a thing, but that's okay. So I could have snapped the Valky at the end of turn to use some mana, but I don't think that's worth it because we don't want them to, like... I'm going to hopefully draw some cards this turn, and we don't want them to, like, take advantage of what we got. So what I can do, however, is I can tap this for 3 and then 4, 5. We can play Might Stone, Weak Stone, and draw 2 cards. And then depending on that, decide what we play for our land for the turn. So I think that's the route we're going to go. I think drawing 2 cards is going to be better than killing the Valky right now, because this thing, like, doesn't actually flip. So it's just a 2/1. So I'm not really worried about that at the moment. And this way, if we drew like this, a nice red source, we can play the Magma Opus next turn. We also have a blue still open for this Consider, so that's pretty nice. We get to do a little bit of cantripping. We're going to take 2 from the Valky, but like that's whatever. And I know there's faster ways to get through the clicks on here, but I don't want to shortcut anything and then accidentally miss stuff. That would be unfortunate. Alright, so we're in the end step, so we're going to cast this Consider for 1 blue. We are going to put that on top of our library. And then we're going to go to our turn. Now, Thopter Foundry is insane because we get to tap that for a white, tap that for a blue, and we play Thopter Foundry. Now, Thopter Foundry combos with Sword of the Meek, and what this is going to let us do is make a very large number of... So, we pay 1 mana. Sorry, I'm like talking this through. We sacrifice Sword of the Meek. This gives us 1 life plus a Thopter. The Thopter is a 1/1, so it returns Sword of the Meek to the battlefield attached to the Thopter token. they are cutting down the Thopter token, which is fine. Because it still comes into play. It comes into play and then attempts to equip. And so since they did that, I can now spend 1 mana, sacrifice the sword again, and I get another Thopter. And then I can do this for as much mana as I have. So at this point, I can tap this for 6 blue and use that blue mana to sacrifice. Oh, all right. So use the mana, sacrifice the Sword of the Meek, gain a life, get a Thopter, get the sword back, and I can do this as many times as I want, as long as I have mana. All right, pay 1. So this is going to be a little clunky until I figure out how it works. So use this, use one of these, use this. All right, so now we got this combo going, and then we have that back in play. I have 2 blue remaining. So now what I'm going to do is next what I'm going to do is play Snap, and the reason I'm playing Snap is because I want to untap 2 lands. So now I can untap the Tolarian Academy and the Volcanic Isle. Each one of these is an artifact, so I can now tap the Tolarian Academy for 9 blue and the Volcanic Isle for 1 red to play the Magma Opus. And then I can do 1 damage to this Valky and 3 damage to their face. And then I can tap 2 permanents. These don't matter because they're already tapped out. And then I have to use 4 of this mana. And I will get a 4/4 out of it as well. And then I might as well use the rest of my mana to make some Thopters because I don't have anything else I can do with it. Now our opponent didn't concede, which is a little concerning, so they probably have something cool, but they've got to find a way to kill me if they want to try and do that. So this is where we're at. We have a lot of 1/1s and a 4/4. We'll see what my opponent does. This also takes a lot of time, and there is a chess clock in Magic Online. There is one in Arena as well, but it's a lot more hidden. Hostile Investigator. Discards a card when 1 or more cards are discarded. Okay. So we're going to discard this Basalt Monolith because we don't really care. So how does this work? Whenever 1 or more players discards 1 or more cards, investigate. This ability triggers once each turn. Okay. That's fine. This is our land for the turn if we need it. We are going to play this Laelia. We might as well use this 2 mana. Even though it hurts us, it's kind of okay because we have a lot of life if we want it. And then we are going to attack with all creatures. So Laelia, when she attacks, she reveals the top card of my deck. I can play it until end of turn. Unfortunately, I've already played a land this turn, so I can't do that. They are going to trade for the Laelia. That's fine. They go to 4. And I don't really... I can do the Thopter combo at any time, so I don't really need to do that this turn. I could have spent 1 mana to equip something, but hey, we win game 1. So this is best. This is played best 2 out of 3. They didn't show me anything specifically that I'm afraid of. So we're just going to send it back. So this hand's a little awkward because we can't actually cast the Aether or cast the Mentor, but we've got some other good stuff, so we're gonna keep this. We would love to find some acceleration. Either the Mox Pearl or the Ancient Tomb would go a long ways towards getting this Kappa Cannoneer down early. Otherwise, this hand just isn't as good as the last one, but that's okay. Oh, Mana Crypt. Alright, so they're already off to a pretty fast start this time. They have a Caustic Bronco. This will draw them extra cards, but at the cost of their life, unless they can saddle it. In which case, it'll cost me life. Alright, so we're going to play this Volcanic Isle and this Aether Spellbomb. At least gives us a little bit of a safety valve if we need it. I think the best draw would be the Mox Pearl, probably. Hard to say. This has a saddle cost of 3, so it's not going to get saddled very often. Alright, so they didn't lose any life off of that one because they revealed a land. There's that forest they revealed. Okay, so they do have a second land, but they don't have a follow-up play. So right now we're doing okay. Okay, Ancient Tomb is pretty interesting. Ancient Tomb lets us do a couple different things. So I think what we want to do is we want to play the Ancient Tomb into Gut. That's going to cost us a little bit of life, but it will also mean they have to trade the Bronco if they want to. And then the next turn, we'll have enough mana to play the Kappa Cannoneer, which is the real problem for them. So that's what we're hoping to do. Because, like, no one has an answer for Kappa Cannoneer. Well, that's not true. But it is a very strong card. They have lost 2 coin flips in a row. So they have taken 6 damage off their Mana Crypt. So we're not too far behind, which is appreciated. So we'll see if they attack. They do attack with the Bronco. Let's see what they flip. Graveyard Trespassers, so they take 3 life there. And I think that we're going to block here. Because if we trade, yes, they drew some cards, but I think we're going to be in a good spot. Something big. 5 mana. 4 or 5 mana here. Interesting. Oh, this costs 6. I miscounted. We need the Pearl in order to get the Kappa Cannoneer down. This is a very strong creature. Okay, so since I miscounted, we are going to need to look at a little bit different setup. We're going to take some damage this turn, but that's okay. We're going to play an island. So we have 4 mana. Right? Yeah, 4 mana. I could Phyrexian Metamorph their Railway Brawler, which is kind of funny. I think that's the route I want to go. The other route is waiting for them to attack and then bouncing the Railway Brawler with the Aether Spell Bomb, but then that makes it even harder to cast the Kappa Cannoneer later. So let's cast this. Alright, choose an artifact or creature. Alright, so now we have a copy of what they have. But most importantly, this one is an artifact. Hey, they lost another flip. They've taken 9 damage off their Mana Crypt. Now, we don't want to block with this, but if they attack, we might, depending on what else they've got going on. We may just take 5. That'll put us to 9. And then I can play a Kappa Cannoneer. And the way this interacts, I believe I can... Let's see here. Yeah, they're both enter the battlefield effects. So long as I stack them correctly, this is going to get its counter. And then the Railway Brawler will double its power. So I will have a 10 power Kappa Cannoneer. And then the Sword of the Meek on the follow-up turn will allow it to be indestructible. That's, of course, dependent on what they play. As they still do have 3 cards in hand, which you can see up there. Interesting. Taking back whatever they were doing. Alright, there's the Graveyard Trespasser we knew about. So this is going to double in size, and it does have Menace, so that's a bummer. And then they're going to exile a card from my graveyard, which I don't care super much about. I don't know. Oh, I lost a life due to that. That's okay. Alright, this Railway Brawler is paying off dividends for them. The question is are they going to want to trade it? And it looks like they are open to trading it. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. So I will be able to play the Kappa Cannoneer next turn either way. But I'm going to take... it's risky... Trying to decide if I don't block this, I go down to 8, and then I think I need to... I'm gonna take the damage. This might be wrong, but I think this lets me keep up a mana to bounce a creature. I think we can make this work. So we're going to have to play the Kappa Cannoneer, and we're going to have to tap this. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I can do it without tapping that. So I can tap this for a mana. Yes, this works, I think. No, that creature has Menace. Okay, so I have to be able to block both 6/6s. So what I have to do is I have to play this and tap this for a mana. Tap this for a mana. and tap this for a mana. Alright, so I get the Kappa Cannoneer. I want to do this and then that. So you have to reverse them so that the Kappa Cannoneer goes first. And then the double power. So I have a 10-10. Now, if they can... So... I don't think I did this right. Oh, that's unfortunate. Because I can bounce one, but now I only have one blocker. Yeah, I screwed that one up. That's okay. Let's go to the next game. Save some time on the clock. Man, this is harder than Arena. These cards are powerful. It is Vintage Cube. So Vintage Cube has like the most ridiculous cards from Magic's history. You're going to get a lot of unique and difficult interactions. I think I needed to I just needed to play it different. It's like the the long and short version. We are going to keep this. And we are going to hopefully get down an early Monastery Mentor and then ride that to victory. And you're going to be like, Casey, you don't have any white mana in hand. And I'll be like, Chromatic Star is very good. So we're going to cast this Chromatic Star for 1 mana. And this will let us turn a mana into a mana of a different color on a later turn. So now if I get like Ancient Tomb next turn, I can immediately get Monastery Mentor down. Or the Mox Pearl right on time. So we're going to cast this Mox Pearl. And we're going to play this Monastery Mentor, and we're going to hope it survives. So next turn, we can do Mishra's Research Desk and consider and get 2 dudes. Or we'll get cut down. That's really unfortunate, but life goes on. Maybe I should have waited a turn to guarantee I get some value off of that. It's a little debatable, but that's okay. I think this turn we are going to really like to draw a land if possible. So I think we're going to start by adding a white mana and drawing a card. So we drew Sword of the Meek. That's not a land. So I had a plan. I'm realizing now I didn't do it very well, but I had a plan. My library is a fairy mastermind. This is still a card. This is not a card I can play, so we got to put this into the graveyard. All right, that is a land. Not exactly the land we were looking for, but to be mana efficient, we'll play this Sword of the Meek, and we'll go to the next turn. If we get Thopter Foundry, like that can win us the game by itself. Hey, look, it's the Bronco. All right, we got a land. So we can play Zerda and then flash in Malcolm. Zerda is a 3/3, so it blocks the Caustic Bronco just fine. So they would need a removal spell, or they are just going to sacrifice their Bronco to draw a card. Either one is kind of okay, and then we get to flash in Malcolm at the end of turn. This equips for 2 normally, so it equips for 1 right now, because Zerta reduces the mana ability, or the cost of activated abilities you activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less. Cannot reduce it to less than 1. So this one costs 2 normally, so it would be 1 right now. We don't really have a payoff for Basalt Monolith if we find it. Okay. That's just gonna eat something out of my graveyard. That's fine. They could have crewed the Bronco there. We're in the end step, so we're gonna cast Malcolm. Get our flyer down. Okay, we got a land. That's not so bad. I think it's worth... Maybe not with that one. Oh, that's fine. I'll play the Mishra's Desk. We are going to activate the Mishra's Desk. And we are going to pick the Lelia. So we can cast the Lelia. And then... Is it worth... How much do we want to be aggressive here? So we can't prevent this from blocking, but we could make Lelia a... Yeah, so we can... Guaranteed damage, 3/3. Yeah, I think we want to go here. And then we are going to attack with both of these and leave back Zerta as a blocker. That's fine. We don't need that Ancient Tomb. This one has a deals combat damage to a player. I'm going to draw and discard. That's a little unfortunate, but not the end of the world. No, not the Kappa Cannoneer. Well, that would have been good, but it's okay. It wasn't the Thopter Foundry. That's the one I was worried about. So we lost a couple good cards, but Thopter Foundry is still in the deck. And we are being aggressive. Hey, Tomargoyf. It's a 3/4. Alright, they're saddling up the Bronco. This is maybe bad for me, depending on what they reveal. But it requires them to attack. Okay, let's see how these turn out. Reveal a Grist, so I take 3. And then... Oh, but a card of mine was put in exile, so my Lelia got bigger. And now I can declare blocks. So we'll block the Snorse. It's a snake horse. So it snores. And get rid of that engine for them. Oh, okay. Harvester of Misery. Didn't see that coming. That is okay. Life will go on. We're going to need to move a little bit faster if we're going to make this work. We're going to attack with all creatures. Alright, so they've got a snap. Interesting. Oh no, I have a snap. Okay. So this has ward, discard a card. So I'd have to discard the Phyrexian Metamorph. I don't know that I want to do that. This is going to gain reach until end of turn. Okay, but it's also a 3/3, right? So those are going to trade? Alright, so we're going to cast this on the Bronco for blue and 1. And then we get to untap... okay, I did that wrong, but that's okay. And then we are going to play this Phyrexian Metamorph. And it's going to copy a Tarmogoyf. Which makes the Tarmogoyf not the best attack, and it also slowed down their Caustic Bronco nonsense. And then next turn, if we don't draw anything else, we can put the sword on the Tarmogoyf. We're a little behind in cards, but we're otherwise doing okay. See what they play. Oh, there's the Grist. Grist is a little annoying. Okay, so they're going to sacrifice their Tarmogoyf to kill one of my creatures. Alright, so we're going to put the sword on there, and we're going to attack Grist this turn. Just get that off the board, otherwise there'll be an infinite supply of blockers. So at this point, we need something to help end the game. That would be ideal. Lands aren't the most helpful. They don't know that, though. They don't know what I have in my hands, so, you know, maybe lands will work out for me. Probably not. I should have played one of them there, but trying to go fast because I'm running lower on time. Alright, so that's a 5/5. I have a 5/7. I can't technically trade with both if I attack, which is a bummer. It's a big Paradise Druid. Okay, that's helpful. So if I bounce this Rhino, I can then attack with the Tarmogoyf, and they've got to chump with something. Okay, so they chump with the 4/3, which is good for me because there's a world where they race me and I'm only at 12 life. They've continued to draw creatures. That one unfortunately doesn't do much for them. Okay, so if I attack, I get to clear one of the creatures, but not both, which is a bummer, but I think I need to do that. Okay. Oh, that makes a lot of dinosaurs. A lot of big dinosaurs. Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. Oh, I don't think I'm going to have time to make this work. Oh, no, I screwed up. Oh, fuck. Do these have trample? They don't have trample. I have to kill them in 2 minutes. This is not going to... Oof. I would have this one if it wasn't for the clock. I don't believe that I'm going to be able to beat them under the clock, but that's okay. Okay. Oh, that one has reach. That's a bummer. So I need to make 8 flyers. I need to have 8 flyers survive. Not sure what they're doing. Okay. Okay, so that has trample and haste and is going to be very big. So I'm gonna need 4. 3. 3 flyers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it depends on what they attack with. Okay, they're saddling. That's it? That'll draw them a bunch of cards, but they have 1 creature with reach. Sorry, I'm not talking much right now. My brain is focused on trying to make sure I can do this with the little time I have left. Okay, so other than clock management, I just need to go through this process as quickly as possible. And I should be able to get enough flyers to rush to my combat step. And then attack them for lethal. Is oh. Where? Okay, there it is. Please use this ability. 13 seconds. Not sure what they could do. They do have mana. I haven't won yet. They have 1 reach creature. I have 8 flyers. I have won the game. Whether or not this works out, I feel like I've won the game. It's definitely a learning experience with the clock to try and do it quicker earlier. I don't know what they're waiting for. Are they hoping that I walk away? Nope, they're taking damage from something. Oh. Well, why didn't they just do that earlier? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's a bummer. I had that game won. All right, breathe. Take a drink of tasty, delicious LaCroix. I think I still could have won that game, now that I think about it. I just panicked. But all I had to do was attack. I just only had 13 seconds. That is really unfortunate. It almost felt like they were taking game action specifically to hinder me, but that is probably reading too much into it. So we're just going to be a little sad and move on to the next one. We take the moral victory. Lost the die roll. That's okay. All 3 colors, half the combo, some extra draw. Yeah, we keep this. Oh, the pearl. Okay, that's pretty fun. Unfortunately, it doesn't give us the right colors to do anything. So we're going to play this, and you know what? We might as well cast this and play the star. Alright, they got a talisman. Alright, so we're going to play this. We're going to play the hard evidence for blue. Because who doesn't like a crab token? Gets us some extra artifacts for later. And then what we have up is a fairy mastermind for their turn through the chromatic star. Or a snap if we really needed it, I guess. But we're probably playing the fairy mastermind. Okay, so they have an Elspeth. Creates a token. Alright, so we're going to make a blue mana, draw a card. Nice. Alright, so we want to keep this up if possible. I think it's worth getting the Thopter Foundry down, though, in case we need to use it. This leaves up Counterspell, Snap, and lets us attack the Elspeth. So we don't want that to get too... It's a little slow, but we'll get there. All right. It's going to be a lot of 1/1s soon. Two black and some other. Oh, Shieldred. We don't love that. Yeah. Thankfully, we have, Thopter Foundry, so we can gain some life. And... Oops, I forgot to untap the lands. That's fine. Ooh, and next turn, we will have all the mana from Basalt Monolith as well. So that's cool. Alright, keep attacking Elspeth. I tapped really poorly, and I realize that now. Because I didn't leave up the Stern Scolding, but they're probably just going to play the Shieldred again. It would be my assumption. This unfortunately doesn't deal with Shieldred, but it does deal with the Elspeth. So that's pretty nice. So we're going to have to figure that out. Yeah, how are we going to do this? We can block with the Fairy Mastermind and then kill it with Magma Opus. That seems like probably our best route. So we are just going to pass the turn this turn. Let's see where we go. Hope everyone's having a good time. Sorry that last one was such a nail biter. Still bummed that I ran out of time instead of killing my opponent with lethal on the board, but that's okay. It's going to happen again in the future. I'm still learning this stuff, so. In the meantime, if you're new here, feel free to drop a follow. If you're not, welcome back. I'm glad you're still here. Hopefully people are enjoying Vintage Cube. I know it's a lot of fun to play, but it is definitely a bit of an oddball compared to Arena with its nice, clean aesthetic and interface. So, little different setup this week. Ooh, Valky. That is going to show them my hand, which... Oh, no, it doesn't have to, though. So if I do this, I still have 1, 2, 3... Oh, this costs 8 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... Oh, I don't even have enough mana for Magma Opus. Okay, well, we still need to counter this. I thought I had enough mana for Magma Opus. That's my bad. We need to come up with a different plan. Alright, well this turn I can chump block with the crab token, as my opponent plays a lot of cards. Oof. Okay. Block there. Take 3. I think I have to play the Consider. Even though it's gonna hurt. But I have to get to an answer. That at least gives me enough mana for Magma Opus, which is theoretically an answer to Sheoldred. That is also a answer to Sheoldred in a different way. Okay, so let's play this, and we'll make 2 Thopters this turn, and that'll give us some chump blockers, and then from there we can start recovering. We're just gonna have to let that Elspeth continue to tick up. Did I not play my land last turn? Man, I'm so focused on this. Oh, you missed it. I had lethal on the board and ran out of time. It was so sad last turn. Oh no! Skyclave. Okay, so let's see if they are smart and go after the sword combo. Yeah. So let's make some Thopters. And then I guess I sacrifice itself because I'd rather it not be exiled. That is a bummer. I realize I could have made more, but then I wouldn't be able to cast the Magma Opus on my next turn, which I'm hoping to use to kill Sheoldred on the following turn, because I don't have anything else that can do it. Oh, that's a 4/5 flying Throbbing Expector. God, this Elspeth is really good. Alright, well... Holy crap. Alright. I guess that's my blocks. It's a bummer that they had the Skyclave. Of course I draw another land. Just rubbing the fact that I forgot to play a land last turn. That's okay. This Magma Opus doesn't even save me because I draw 2 cards off of it, which will be 2 triggers, so that's 4 life. And then there's 3 attackers there, so I'm just going to save some clock and go to the next one. Okay, so this seems like one where instead of this Magma Opus, I'm going to want to try and get down this portal to Phyrexia. It's not super likely. You know what? Actually, instead of that, let's get in this Flame Tongue Kabu. Just a little bit extra removal. Actually, in general, I felt like I've not had enough removal. So maybe I need this Phantom Interference in there. You know, we'll try this. This is +1 piece. Let's go with that. Ancient Tomb Pearl. This seems rather good. this, and I want this. And I would like to cast Malcolm. Alright, so let's see where they go from here. Metamorph is fun. Let's start by attacking them. Alright, so Malcolm draws me a card. It's a Fairy Mastermind. I think we will discard this desk because I can get some value off of that later. And then we're going to play this and leave up the ability to flash in the Mastermind at the end of their next turn. And see what they play. Okay, they get a Talisman. Nothing too fancy yet. Alright. Play the Mastermind. Now we have 4 in the air. Awkwardly 2 red cards, but that's okay. If Malcolm hits, we get to draw a discard again. We can draw discard a red card if we need to. Let's discard the Flame Tongue Kavu because it has to hit something. And then play this red source and how do I undo? Literally Control Z maybe? Okay, cool. We're gonna play Gut off of the Ancient Tomb and leave up the Consider. So we'll play Consider. They haven't played anything yet, which is a little concerning. We're going to leave that on top of the library because it sacks to Gut like super well. So we'll play this for 1 blue. Alright, and then we're going to attack with all. I'm going to assume at this point they're going to have a response. But we are going to sacrifice this Chromatic Star and draw a card off of it and get a 4/1 Menace, which is pretty solid. And see what they play, I guess. Okay, Wandering Emperor, interesting. So this will let them kill 1 creature. Okay, they're going to make a 2/2. Okay, interesting. That trades with Gut, I guess. That's still a lot of damage that they're taking. And next turn, if they don't deal with Malcolm, I'll start getting to cast things for free. I'm going to throw this on. It's a -2. Yeah, let's equip this to the Fairy Mastermind, which I think is like the least appealing thing for them to kill right now, because it's just a 2/1 that has benefit if they draw cards and they're not drawing cards. This is a 4/1 Menace. This will give me free cards. So if they're going to sacrifice their Wanderer for something, I would like it to be this Mastermind. So this, depending on what they have for dual lands, could be the missing color. I don't think they're missing a color, though. But they might be missing, like, 2 black for Sheoldred, which doesn't do a whole lot for them right now. They went and got another white. Interesting. They are exiling the 4/1 Menace, which does gain them 2 life. We have 5 damage on the attacks here. Mind Stone draws them a card, theoretically. Okay, Sarah Paragon, interesting. So that's a 3/4 flying. So Sarah Paragon can get back mana value 3 or less. Interesting. So what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this Metamorph for 3 mana. Did I not pay 3 mana? Okay. Cast. Click the player icon to pay life. Then 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to play this. I am going to copy their Sarah Paragon. I am then going to cast my Gut, which is going to, when I attack, which I'm going to attack with all of my creatures. All right, sweet. So when I attack, I was going to sack my Mox Pearl in order to get a 4/1 Menace, and then I'm going to hit them for a minimum of 6. And then I'll get a free card out of it. So, yeah, that seemed fine. Let's go with that. All right, so far so good. We're 1-1 in match 2. We lost the first round to the clock, and nothing but the clock, and that's okay. All right, this is pretty sweet. We're gonna keep this. This has got a turn 1 Shadow Spear, turn 2 Sword of the Meek, turn 3 Zerta. We do need a white source eventually, but I believe. All right. And then the Zerta actually lowers the equip costs of our equipment. So on turn 4, we have a pretty hefty attack if our Zerta survives. Oh, Urborg. So we have black mana, I guess. Alright, Mind Stone. So that's a little bit of ramp for them. Oh, okay. So that changes up our plan a little bit. Also, all of my lands now tap for black, so that makes my tapping a little bit more awkward. So now we can start making dudes off of our non-creature spells, which admittedly is just Sword of the Meek right now, but that's not nothing. This is something they have to deal with on some level. What did they do? Okay. They cast a Talisman. Love a 1-mana spell. Or a white source. That's a 2-mana spell. That's okay, though. I think I want to get the Zerta down. Because this will make my equips easier, and I don't know. It's just what I decided I wanted to do. Okay, they've got something. Ooh, Orcish Bowmasters. Did not see that one coming. We can actually Phyrexian Metamorph to copy their Orcish Bowmasters to kill their Orcish Bowmasters, which might be the route I take. Partly because it would be so good with Fairy Mastermind, and then I can start like pinging their stuff. Alright, Pyrite Spellbomb. How do I want to do this? So a 4/4 lifelink is pretty good, but they have Emperor mana up, which would be unfortunate. But I'd still have 2 mana up to do other things. I don't want to live in fear. That might be the wrong choice, but that's what we're doing. We could also just equip it and not attack. And then play the Fairy Mastermind on their next turn. That might be the smarter way to do this. Because this disincentivizes any of their attacks, and then if they have a Wandering Emperor, they probably want to use their mana. Oh, okay. Or they just have that. A little bit of a bummer there, but that's okay. Flash in this Fairy Mastermind. Oh, this equips for 2 now. That's fine. Man, I actually really dislike this herb work. Maybe there's an easier way to tap mana, but it's a little annoying, to be perfectly honest. Alright, well if they had Wandering Emperor, that's where they would have played it. So we're going to play this Pyrite Spellbomb. They have some options up. We might be using this to kill the Orcish Bowmasters at end of turn so that I can... Well, I don't really have any extra card draws right now, but it would be probably a smart idea. Otherwise, it's Metamorph next turn for it, which is maybe the better idea? Not 100% sure. We could also Flying Tongue Kabu it, but I kind of like having one myself, because then we can start using this to kill their creatures. Yeah, let's Metamorph it. It's funny. I like it. Alright. They've got attacks going. I'm not sure what they're waiting for. They got something. Oh, they're drawing a card. So that I draw a card? So that the Orcish Bowmasters makes their army bigger? That seems like a questionable use for that. Interesting. Yeah. This definitely some learning curve going on here. And that's okay. Winds of Abandon. Okay, so I get to search for a basic. I'll take my white source, thank you. Alright, and then that flips over into like a Thoughtseize eventually. Interesting. I still kind of like Metamorph into on the Orcish Bowmaster. That's a creature spell, that's fine. Maybe the better way to do that is to cast it for 3 and 2 life. Okay, apparently you have to start with the 2 life. Oh, because the 2 life is the blue, so it was counting the blue. Got it. Okay. And then we're gonna copy the Orcish Bowmaster and then use this trigger to kill their Orcish Bowmaster, which then gives me an army. And then we're also going to play this Monastery Mentor. And then next turn, if this flips, yeah, this is fine. If they flip this, they get one of these 2 cards, which is like unfortunate but fine. If they don't flip this, then I'm dealing with whatever they play this turn. Oh, Deep Cavern Bat. Okay, so they're going to get both the cards, but I'm going to be able to get one back with the Spell Bomb. Okay. And they know what card this is, so they don't really have incentive to make me discard it, unless they are just trying to prevent the Prowess trigger. Like, this is actively bad, because this in my graveyard isn't that bad, and if they make me discard a card, I get to draw a card. So are they maybe choosing not to? No, they chose to discard it. Okay, interesting. Now this is a 3/4 menace that they get to attack with, which is like not ideal, but I'm not in like a terrible spot, especially since I have this Shadow Spear. Okay. So we are going to kill the Deep Cavern Bat. And then we're going to cast this Kavu. And then we get to deal 4 damage to target creature. And then we're going to cast this Chromatic Star. Realizing now I could have used the Basalt Monolith to get an extra Prowess trigger this turn, but I'm going to use that next turn. Oh, I needed to stack my triggers. Interesting. Oh, the Sword of the Meek comes back. Awesome. And then I'm going to attack with the Monastery Mentor. Maybe. Because it's a 3/3. And they have a 1/2. And 1 mana up. 1 black mana. Okay. They're going to fetch. So they must need another color? Not sure why they would fetch their... Oh, yep, they want the Surveil land. Interesting. This time we're not 10 minutes behind on the clock, so that's good. We're improving. We're improving. They surveilled an Agatha's Soul Cauldron. I personally probably would have kept that, but maybe they don't think they can win off of that. That's totally fair. All right, so We're going to cast this for... we don't need this white mana anymore because we have our one white spell. We are going to put the prowess triggers on. There we go. That's fine. Alright, so we have that. We are going to cast this for 1 blue. Get some more prowess triggers. There's got to be a better way of doing that. Hey! We win the game! We won the match! Hell yeah! We're 1-1. Celebration. Little fireworks. That's 50 play points minimum. We're happy about it. All right. That said, I am going to very quickly stretch my legs because this is way more tense than Arena, but I'm having a good time. So bear with me. I will be right back in just a couple minutes. All right, quick stretch, handful of jumping jacks. We're still celebrating. We got our win. We're 1-1, and we're gonna go play game 3 now. So, if you're new here, feel free to drop a follow. Would be greatly appreciated, but never necessary. Jumping jacks right before you get back on stream. Maybe not the best idea, but it's probably good for me. So, yeah, we'll take it. All right. We have a pretty sweet blue-red aggressive artifact deck with a splash of white for Monastery Mentor and Thopter combo. We have the full Thopter combo. We have Zerta Basalt Monolith for some infinite mana with minimal payoffs, but they are there. And some other cool cards like Gut and Shadow Spear and Tolarian Academy. Hey, hi Minotaurus, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by the stream. We're playing some Vintage Cube tonight. So similar to the one that you've drafted at my place, a little bit different configuration. Mine is a proxy one. I'll be up front. I do not own all those fancy cards, but here on Magic Online, every once in a while they run Vintage Cube. They change it up a little bit here and there, like, 20 cards in, 20 cards out. And yeah, we have a pretty cool blue-red deck. So we're having a good time. I learned how to turn on the follower goals tonight. So we got a goal of 40 followers. We'll get there eventually. I'm not in a rush, but we've been doing well. We've been getting a few a week. So yeah. And I've been able to stick to my streaming schedule for a few weeks in a row now. So that's cool. All right. What do we got? We have a hand we need to mulligan. That's what we got here. So we got our 1 plains in the deck. So we're going to mulligan this. Oh, this is a way better hand. Okay, so what are we putting back? Metamorph is the only one that I think is like not a guaranteed banger, though Thopter Foundry, we don't have the color, but we have the Chromatic Star to make that work. So we're going to put back this Metamorph, and we're going to be pretty happy with it. So they're going first. Dredge 89. Also a, I don't know. Dredge is a good time. I've never played it, but I've seen it played. And the people who play Dredge certainly seem to enjoy it. whatever it is they're actually doing. No one really understands how Dredge works. Is kind of my understanding. All right, so we got a Chromatic Star. This artifact is sweet and is going to allow us to play the Thopter Foundry on 2 if we want to. We're going to attack with Lelia on turn 3, and basically the only thing we don't want to see her exile is the sword. Like the Sword of the Meek that goes with this Thopter Foundry. That would make us sad. Anything else, we can live with it. We'll work around it. But if she exiles our Sword of the Meek, we're going to be in a little bit of a rough spot. 3 steps ahead is some fun interaction. But it doesn't counter a spell until I have 3 mana, so we are going to add a white, add a blue, and get this Thopter Foundry going. I definitely didn't do that right, but we're okay. Thankfully, our other land also taps for blue. We're still learning this interface. This is definitely a difficult interface. Oh! Alright, well now we don't mind if they get rid of our Sword of the Meek, because we don't have a Thopter Foundry. But, at the same time, they don't have a miscalculation anymore, so we're okay with it? We're a little bummed by that. That does put us a turn farther away from Kappa Cannoneer. Ooh. Saga's pretty good. Mana Vault is also pretty good. See what they have to follow this up. Nothing immediately. That's pretty good for us, actually. I think we want to get the Lelia going. Best possible off of this is going to be a Mox Pearl. Because that's the only card we could play this turn. So we would like to draw the card we can play, if it is available. So let's see what we get. Third Path. We would have liked that, maybe, but we don't really have the best hand for it anymore. So we're okay with that hitting the bin, unfortunately. Our opponent doesn't have an immediate response, so we get in for some damage. Mana Vault taps for a lot of mana, but it requires taps for 3. If it's tapped during your turn, you take 1 damage, and then it untaps for 4, but only during your upkeep. So this one is got a few steps going on. They can currently make a 2/2 construct with the Urza Saga. Thankfully, Lelia is staying ahead of the curve there. So let's see what we draw. They still haven't played anything, which is a little concerning, but not the end of the world. I should not have played that land. I don't think I can undo that. Nope, that's okay. I should not have played that land because if we reveal a land off of Lelia, we would like to be able to play it. But that's fine. We do have a counter spell up, so if they think they have something for Lelia, then we have an answer. We would like to attack with all creatures. Almost skipped that. So since she attacks, all right, we got a Pyrite Spellbomb. That is a really nice draw because we can play that and keep our counter spell up. So we're in the declare blockers step. See what they do. Looks like we're going to get in for some more damage. Love to see it. And then we're going to cast our Pyrite Spellbomb. So now we have pretty flexible next turn. So this next turn, we can... Malcolm has Flash, so we can play a 2-1 and use the Pyrite Spellbomb, which is probably what we want to do. Because what's going to end up happening is we're going to wait for them to try and make another construct, which means they're going to put more artifacts into play, and then we're going to shoot this construct before that happens. Okay, so they're floating mana, so we still would like to shoot this construct for 1 red. So now the artifact they get off of Urza Saga won't pump that construct any further. And yeah, we're pretty happy with that. Now, that means our counter spell is down, which is, you know, not ideal. They get a Mox Jet, so they have even more mana? Just curious. Okay, a Myr Battlesphere. Can't say that that was exactly the card I was expecting. Yup, maybe I should have left the counterspell up. But that's okay. We're okay with that. All right, so we're gonna play Malcolm here. We have a flyer. It can go up over the top of this. What would be our best draw here? Island isn't exactly our best draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 mana. I think we've got to take a turn off from Lelia because we don't have a good payoff for her. Lelia is coming to Modern, which is super cool. So I am probably going to play the hell out of this card in Modern. End of turn, if they don't give us a good target for our counterspell, I'm going to probably discard the Magma Opus to get a treasure token. And that treasure token will let us play the Kappa Cannoneer on the following turn. Okay, let's see if they are going to tap any of their Myr. They're going to tap all of their Myr. So this is for 8. I'll block that. It doesn't have trample. Alright, so now we're going to discard Magma Opus for a blue and a red. Get a treasure token. I'm a little confused. Oh, this is awesome. So now what we can do is we can attack with the Lelia, wait for them to attack with the Myr Battlesphere, and then bounce the Myr Battlesphere. Let's see what we draw off of this. Ooh, a Shadow Spear. That's pretty good. So this is going to put them down to not a lot. 7, looks like. And then I can cast this for 1. And then on the next turn, we can equip and attack for 7 if we need to. So that's an Orcish Bowmasters. I think that that one is worth countering. And we're just going to do the counterspell one so that we keep up the snap if we need it. We're going to have to use the treasure for the snap, but that's okay. We can still cast Kappa Cannoneer in the future if we need to. Once again, we're staying ahead on life total, so that's good. The other nice thing about Shadow Spear here is that if we snap a blocker, we might be able to get them with some surprise trample damage, and that's always good. So they're like all in on artifacts, it looks like. If they've got a Mishra's Workshop, they're hoping to get like big, juicy artifacts out early. Alright, so there's the attack. Let's see how many Myrrh they tap this time. All but 1, which doesn't save them anyways, but we're going to still play the snap because I think it's the right thing to do. All right. Now, I just realized that we should have taken the hit and then done it in end step, because now they can still play something this turn. That is a 5/4. Interesting. I don't think that's that helpful to them. Okay, so we want to equip this for 2. So we're going to have a 7/7, and they're going to have 6 power worth of defense, because this is a 5/4. So I just realized that I didn't quite sequence everything correctly, but that's okay. We're not going to be able to play that Stern Scolding. Also okay. But we're going to gain a lot of life off of this, either way. Alright, so they're down to 3. 2 if they don't pay for this. Okay. Still in a good spot. Think this is the Myrrh Battle Sphere coming back down. No, it's a Caldra complete. Interesting. Interesting. Alright, so we're going to play this Inspiring Vantage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 mana there. So if I attack with this, I'm going to lose my Lelia, which I'd rather not. Just because it doesn't actually benefit me much. So we're going to play this Kappa Cannoneer. And I need to cast it before I can improvise. That's good to know. And the reason we haven't played this Mox Pearl yet is that next turn I can use the Mox Pearl to make the Kappa Cannoneer unblockable, and crunch in for final damage then. Blastoise here, also joining Modern next in a few weeks. They are still dying to their Mana Vault. That's also a thing that's happening. I am not sure what they could have. They might just be playing it out because it's fun to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I am not going to block this 5/5. If it somehow kills me, then I will put on my surprise face. I do not know if the number keys are relevant to shortcuts. I should be careful with that. I should really get like a stream deck. Alright, so we are rewarded for sandbagging this Mox Pearl. And now we have a cannot be blocked Blastoise, the affectionate community name for Kappa Cannoneer. Alright, one more win to go, and we will be good. Alright, so I didn't really hate how that all played out. I would kind of like to get in this. Let's see here. You know what? I'm gonna run it back. I don't think anything's too bad. I maybe should have put in the Flame Tongue Kavu, but we'll be fine. This is awesome. Do we want a... We want a turn 1 Malcolm into a turn 2 Gut. Is that what we want? We'd have to sacrifice the Pearl to make that work. Oh, or not. I mean, it'd still be the Pearl. We want to get this Iconoclast down. Is what we want to do. All right, so we're gonna play the Volcanic Isle. We're gonna consider. We're gonna play it a little bit slower in order to get a lot more value. All right, so don't particularly love that, but we can overcome it. All right, consider Aether Spell Bomb is pretty darn sweet here, so we're going to leave that on top of our library. Okay, so we are going to go Island, Iconoclast. Oh, nope. Control Z. There we go. Into Mox Pearl. And then we're going to tap the Mox Pearl to play this Aether Spell Bomb. So now we have lots of 1/1s. And then next turn, we can play Gut and Malcolm if we want. Though we might be doing Gut and Spell Bomb. We'll have to see. Just how we drew it up, right? Exactly how we drew it up. Pest Infestation. Blowing up 1... Okay. Fair. That does prevent me from bouncing a thing. It does not, however, stop me from doing other degenerate nonsense. Okay, so we want to Gut, True Soul Zealot. And then we are going to go to combat. We're going to attack with these 2 soldier tokens. And then we're going to use Gut's ability. How do I do this? Sacrifice another creature or artifact. We're going to sacrifice one of the tokens to make a 4/1 menace, which they can double block if they want, but then I'm just going to have more of them in the future. So I'll take this. I guess 2/2 is probably fine. So we're going to gain a couple life. That's okay, because we're playing the long game. So we get to play Malcolm on the end of the next turn and then sacrifice the other token. And then we still have Snap up to deal with their construct. Oh, they're not making any constructs. That is a total victory against Urza's Saga. If you have an Urza Saga, you make no constructs, like, this was just a very slow Mox Jet. That's all that was. Okay, Batter Skull for 5 mana. That's fine. We're going to use the Snap to bounce the Batter Skull, untap 2 lands, and play Malcolm. And then we're going to hit them for a bajillion damage, which is the technical term. Alright, so now we have a counterspell up. Chef's Kiss. They have nothing up. So we're going to go to combat. We're going to attack with all creatures. We're going to use Gut's ability to sacrifice one of these tokens. Turn it into a 4/1 menace. We also get to draw a discard. Honestly, the Metamorph can go. This still holds up a counterspell if we need it. And I forgot to play the Spell Bomb. That's my bad. But now we have better counterspell up. Because this can be an extra 4/1 menace if we want, or it can draw 2 cards, discard a card. But it is definitely a... Well, I don't think I have enough mana to do the other one. Okay, so, yep. We're going to cast this. We're going to counter a spell and draw 2, discard a card. Target that one. We need blue, blue, and 3. We get a 1/1 out of it. Yay! 2-1. We did it. The deck came together in the end. Get the celebration. No, that's the cowboy hat. Yay, there we go. We're celebrating. So, with Vintage Cube or any drafts on Magic the Gathering Online, you get play points based on how well you do, and 100 play points buys you another entry. So, by going 2-1, that was functionally a free night of drafting, which was a hell of a good time, to be perfectly honest. So just to kind of review what we ended up having in our deck, we had Ancient Tomb. Is there a good way to look at this? Not the prettiest, but it's what we got. We had Ancient Tomb for some acceleration. We had Mox Pearl for a little bit of power. We had Tolarian Academy, which I think only appeared in the very first game I played tonight. Which I had Thopter combo plus Tolarian Academy, and I made a lot of Thopters. We had Shadow Spear, which helped out in at least one game. we had both of our spell bombs. We had Aether spell bomb and Pyrite spell bomb, which was crazy, especially with the third path Iconoclast. We had two 2/1 flash flyers, so the Fairy Mastermind and Malcolm. Those were pretty good. Lelia took over that first game in the third round. Gut continues to be super strong. We did have Zerta Basalt Monolith. This is an infinite mana combo, but unfortunately didn't ever get to put that together. We had Monastery Mentor, which was pretty fun. The Metamorph was very good. Helped us out in multiple games, including winning a game by copying our opponent's Sarah. It's the 3/4 flying angel that has the Luris effect, lets you cast creatures from your graveyard. So we copied that to get a gut from our graveyard, which then allowed us to attack with a 4/1 menace. It was very cool play. Kappa Cannoneer, so excited to play this card in Modern. It was a lot of fun. Definitely very good. Magma Opus, we did get to cast it once, so I'm going to call that a victory. So definitely a fun draft. Also, these drafts take a lot longer than the ones on Arena. And I think that's just because the cards are more complicated and the interface is different. You do have the chess clock, so every match can take about an hour. You have 25 minutes on each side plus sideboarding. So, that is what it is. I'm just going to have to budget my time a little bit better for these in the future. And then just to kind of recap the beginning of the stream, because I had a lot of fun with that, we did the daily pixel art challenge on Twitter, and today's challenge was Crow. So we made ourselves a Storm Crow, because welcome to someone who plays too much Magic. You gotta have a Storm Crow. So, I hope that everyone had a good time tonight. If you're new here, drop me a follow. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you're a returning friend or someone brand new, I appreciate you stopping by. I don't think I have time for a whole nother draft, but I will be back Wednesday, and we'll be doing some more drafting then, though I have considered playing a little bit of the Pandarian remix on WoW. So if people think that might be fun to watch, let me know. And I may be doing that on stream, playing through the quests and the story of the Panda expansion, because I've never had a chance to do it before. Beyond that, I think we're going to probably wrap it up a couple minutes early tonight. So apologize if anyone just got here. It's been a good, fun 3 hours of streaming. Who looks like so my friend Seriously Surly has been helping out with a Kingdom Hearts 2 randomizer tournament. I know that's a very different vibe than what we have been looking at so far, but I think people might enjoy it, and it's for charity, and who doesn't like charity? So I am gonna go send everyone over that way here in a second, and go enjoy, and we'll hopefully see you on Wednesday.